piece of paper. This is just a wish.
That building alone
There's
is
so
going to
many,
take all
yeah.
the,
Well,
it's going to
that's a
take
lot of
all their
firepower.
bonding capability.
Right, and that's why. Things, you're right.
Where did this,
It has to be critically looked at. This is wrong.
it's crazy.
Welcome, everybody, to the regular Board of Trustees meeting for January 14th, 2025. Is there a motion to open tonight's meeting? Trustee Rosenberg, second trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor. Meeting is hereby open. Just for the record, trustee Nell is not present and is excused for tonight's meeting. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone, to our first meeting of 2025. It's not on the agenda, but we're going to add a presentation for someone who's very special to us. So I'm going to come down to the microphone. You look like you're getting already
Emotional.
I got it. You need to amend the,
Tonight's agenda to add a presentation. Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Malin, all in favor. The agenda is hereby amended.
thank you. Just wanted to make sure Madam Clerk was covered. Okay. Thank you.
Here we are. So we have a very special presentation, and I would like to take the time out to have a certificate of appreciation for Greta Cowan, who is one of the founding members of the Human Rights and Diversity Committee from October 27th, 2020 to December 31st, 2025. And, you know, we didn't have this committee until October 27th, 2020. So things happened throughout that time that brought to my attention that there were people in Dobbs Ferry who didn't feel comfortable. There were issues being raised that just were not discussed, and we, not willingly, but we closed our eyes to a lot of things that should have been addressed. And one of the things I wanted to accomplish as the mayor is to do everything that we could as a village to make everyone feel as welcome, as supported, as we all feel in Dobbs Ferry. And it was just mind-blowing to me that there were two different classes of people, so to speak, or two different thoughts of how the village was. So I appointed and created this committee. We put out the call for people who wanted to be involved with it. We got a whole bunch of resumes. I went through them. I spoke to everyone. We interviewed them, and then we made this appointment. I think initially we had about 15 people, maybe even more, right? We had a lot of people. Shari was one of the people also who was on the initial board. June, I don't know, Betty, I don't know if you were the original, but yeah. And throughout the years, people have left. Some new people have come on. So this is going to be a ever-changing committee. And I've always told them, I may be missing things or how am I approaching things. And they are very frank in what they tell me and how, you know, maybe I missed the boat sometimes on issues, but it's always I know it's done with love. So they all want the same thing. We all want everyone to feel welcome in Dobbs Ferry. So we've always had very open and candid discussions. And I think an example of that is the listening circle, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great experience. So I'm sorry to see you go. And I know we don't have it in the proclamation, but can I make tomorrow Greta Cowan Day in Dobbs Ferry?
Why not? Oh, come on, you're the mayor. Come on, you're the mayor.
So you know what? I am going to make tomorrow Credit Cowan Day in the village of Dobbs Ferry. Whatever day you want. But it doesn't mean you won't get a parking ticket, but you still will get a parking ticket.
Free cheese or something, you know.
So,
That's outside. No free cheese.
on behalf of the grateful village, we want to thank you for everything that you've done. So here you go.
And I would be
microphone is-
remiss, I need to say a few words. I was an original member of the committee. I've been honored to be the liaison to the committee. And particularly June and Greta have been the most consistent members of this committee and have really given so much. I don't know if everybody realizes how much they've done and how much they're responsible for. But when you see the newsletter and you see that it is Black History Month, it is Holocaust Remembrance Day, it is Deaf Awareness Day, they're writing those things. You know, the fact that the Pride March has come to Dobbs Ferry, that was their work. The listening circles was their work. That we've had book clubs, we've had things at the library. They've built relationships, and there is much more of an awareness. And we always talk about striving to a more perfect union. So things are not perfect, but we are definitely working towards building bridges and making more people feel comfortable, whether it is the Rainbow Crosswalk or it is just the acknowledgement of the fact that we are a diverse community and we revel in our diversity. Our diversity is what makes us strong. And I just really, it has been such an honor and a pleasure. You really lead with grace, and you really lead with compassion, and you also know how to follow and to really lift up others, and I will miss you.
Sherry. Yeah. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Mayor. It's been a real honor to serve on this committee for 4 years. I am just thrilled that you created the committee, that you had the foresight and the courage to both see what's possible here in the village, to know what you know and you don't know is such an incredible strength of a leader, I believe. You know, and so that call out 4 years ago to the village, we're looking for volunteers for this specific committee. It's the first time since my 18 years of being in the village, other than work that I did when my daughter was in school, when Ella was in school, I really felt this is a place I want to step up and see if I can help make things better, make this village more welcoming and affirming. And it has been an honor, and it's been a struggle also to start something from scratch. June and I, who were there at the beginning, it was, where are we? How are we going to make an impact? And I really want to thank those original members, Sherry and June, for sticking in there during the forming, norming, storming of a new group. It was really challenging, but we got through it. Sherry's been an amazing partner, and when you stepped up here to the board, we knew we were going to have the best liaison possible. June, I have learned so much from you. It's not surprising that you are the educator that you are, because I feel like by your side I've learned so much about organizing, working in a community, creating coalitions and partnerships. You're amazing that way. And I know that I'm leaving things in good hands. Betty has stepped up and applied a lot of strategic thought to our committee and really created the pathway towards these listening circles, which are going to be happening this year in the village. And as evinced by the pilot circle that we had here a few weeks ago at the end of last year, I know that we're going to be creating amazing dialogue that's going to open up just a lot of connection and a very welcoming spirit in this community. So thank you all. It's been an honor, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Your family up?
Family. Thank you. Thank you, Liz. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Greta, stay in touch, please.
Absolutely.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Greta.
Thank you.
I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. You get free parking? I don't know what happened.
Greta Cowan Day.
See, they're fighting over you.
But it's a little lopsided, because we've got trustees.
Step to the left.
Maybe you want to
Oh,
start this way.
Yeah, we rock around in front.
Bring some color to this. You know, mostly, we need some more reds and vibrant. Oh, yeah, sure, ooh, that looks beautiful.
We blend.
Yeah, Jess, you're behind the.
Thank you for calling me a tall person. Oh, no. Dang.
Need a phone book?
YouTube audience.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Put a picture up in the square.
I never actually wanted to work in days. Just do something.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
We forgot to tell you, you can't leave. You have to stay to the end of the meeting.
Read the fine print.
Nice, but not that nice.
I guess we will. Thank you for that.
The next item is an appointment. I'm going to announce the appointment of Lori Kelly as a member of the Ad hoc Sustainable Dobbs Committee. I want to thank Lori for stepping up. I know she's had an extensive background in volunteerism in Dobbs Ferry, and we appreciate her giving us more time as a member of the Sustainable Dobbs Committee. So welcome and thank you for that. Next item is courtesy of the floor. Is there anybody who wants to speak about, regarding any issue? No one online? Where's Patty?
He left.
He's probably outside.
Well.
It's an opportunity.
missed,
All right.
Okay, let's move on to the resolutions. So we have before us a resolution regarding the REC system, which really is a renewal of the interstate municipal agreement regarding repository integrated criminalistic information system, which enables the electronic transmission and storage of criminal records, fingerprints, police blotters, and related data to support law enforcement operations. This isn't something new. So is there a motion to authorize the village administrator to execute a renewal of the intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County for use of its REC system? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 2. This concerns our contributions into CDBG grants. Rob, do you want to just talk a little bit about what we're doing here?
Yes, Mayor, thanks. Previously, a few meetings ago, the board approved moving ahead to the maximum 4 projects for the CDBG program for the next 3 years. As the county did some review, they said we were eligible to actually increase the amount up to the maximum of 50% or $200,000 match. So they actually advised us to just up it by about $100,000 matching to actually include more sidewalks throughout the village. So they actually advised us to do that, thinking that we're eligible to receive it. So I think it was a good idea to actually 50-50 match. I think it's money well spent.
So this will be for sidewalks from 2026 through 2027, and if the total maximum village match is $675,000, is that correct?
That's correct. Originally, it was 575, so I'd like to propose increasing it by 100 to maximize the match.
So it's a 50-50 match?
Right, so the 200,000, we're actually asking for $400,000 on 3 projects. So 50/50 match, the village match would be 200,000 each for each one of those sidewalk projects, plus the difference of the $175,000 van for the senior van, that's the one in 2025. So all total, the 50% match came to a total now of, I think it was 650. I might have wrote it down here.
Well, it says 675.
675, I'm sorry.
What are the sidewalk projects?
Add up.
Well, hold on, let me see.
I think he's saying it's half of the 150
Yeah.
for today.
But he-
That's 75 plus the other 600.
But he said 200 times 2,
No,
plus
times
half of-
3.
It should be
oh,
3.
there's 3, okay, that's where the 600, and then half of the one, okay, so what's the likelihood that all 3 of these will, or all 4 of these will go forward?
Well, the crystal ball so far says likely.
Okay, so what are the, sorry, I'm probably, this probably was part of an old meeting or something somewhere, but what are the 3 $400,000 sidewalk projects? If you could just a brief overview.
I believe it includes the entire length of Walgrove, Bellevue, and I think there's another side street. I forget the name. The one with all those big trees on it.
The one with all the big trees?
Yeah, no, it's also parallel down in the same area. But it's
But we
basically
can park?
just for the sidewalks on each one of those.
So
What was it?
Mohegan,
Bellwood and all of Walgrove.
Bellwood, Walgrove, and Mohegan?
Right.
Not Bellevue, Bellwood, right?
I'm sorry, is it Bellwood?
Is it Wood, my street?
Yes, the 3, yeah. The 3,
Yeah, so
Okay.
those are the 3 streets there.
so it's like
Unless it's like
approximately
Bellwood,
200.
Astorwood, Walgrove. but-
Yeah, no, I'm just curious. I don't know. I just want to know where
No,
we're
you're right.
proposing to spend
You're absolutely right.
600,000.
There should be back, there should have been backup in that, you're right.
So, okay, the senior van thing I get, that's the old one that we've had forever. It's just
right, it's too
probably,
big. We need a CDL driver. Basically, we're trying to get a 14-seater or less. That way we can actually have a regular driver drive.
because Frank and Tony just can't do it anymore.
Well, either they're not available, or if we just lessen the seats by 2, keep it under 14, commercially speaking, anybody
You
with a
just take 2
license can
seats out of
drive.
the old bus, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
It's like new
that's-
truck.
It's the capacity.
Yes,
We've
it's
tried all
the
that.
maximum, yes.
So, okay, that one I totally understand. So, I guess I haven't, I'm not, like, I used to walk my daughter up Beacon Hill to the school, so I don't walk on your street.
Yeah,
Um,
well,
is
I
it-
mean,
I'm
Walgrove's a
assuming it's pretty
disaster right
bad
now.
shape. Yeah,
The lower, the other part of Bellwood, like my side isn't as bad, but the other side of Transville, yeah, it's pretty
okay.
bad.
But the other thing, these are 3 streets with very different linear footage. And each one of them is going to get $400,000 to fix the whole length of it. That doesn't quite scan to me that they each cost the same while being
don't.
very different lengths.
Yeah, they don't.
So what we approved is.
Well, it also
senior-
includes, I'm sorry.
I have the thing up.
Yeah.
The sidewalk replacement from Walgrove from Broadway to Bellwood would be 300,000, 1,500 linear feet. Walgrove from Bellwood to the intersection of Springhurst's entrance, another 1,000 linear feet, 200,000. And then Bellwood from Ashford to Walgrove,
Right.
1,500 linear feet, 300,000.
So that's 800.
Plus the 150 for the senior.
Right, plus,
Did you catch, between Mohegan or no?
No, it's not it.
Yeah,
Those are
that
the
was,
3 sidewalk
that
projects.
that was we were only allowed to put in 4, that was like the alternate. And also it includes, that's why we're saying it's 2026 and 2027, it includes the price of escalation every year, which, again, we revised it.
Yeah, but
It's
this
the
doesn't
same
add up.
square
That
footage.
added up to 800 and change.
Yeah, it's
half
up
of
to
it-
$1,050,000.
Oh, so.
I mean, yeah,
That's still
I mean,
not,
950,000, sorry.
that's not twice 675.
That's not, so the difference is,
I think it's
Yeah,
because it's a,
1.3.
I think it's because it's you have to authorize a maximum of 200,000 per project.
Right,
These are estimated costs, so if we don't authorize the maximum,
Right.
and then the cost is higher than what we estimated in the application, we won't be able to fund it.
right.
okay, so we're authorizing like an excess of funds.
That's what I think, right, Rob?
Right, to be eligible to
Right,
max
'cause
out
they
the
said to
200,000.
take, to raise it up.
Because the county does the planning and the
Right.
design.
So we don't know up front what the actual estimated cost is, but if we underestimate, which we've done in the past,
Right.
Why wouldn't we
then we don't
estimate-
have the ability to
They're overestimating by
Increase.
200,000.
So we're doing.
So if we don't
Why
spend
would-
all the money, we don't spend all the match.
Right.
Okay, fair.
So
But
we
why
have an
wouldn't we
estimate of
max it?
950, where you're putting it for 1.2 to be safe.
Right, to be
Okay, I
safe,
get it, I just
right.
didn't understand all
Right,
these
no,
issues.
it should have been clearer, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay.
So, that's a
I'm
great
gonna go ahead
point.
and ask my question.
No, ask.
That's got a great question.
No, that makes total sense. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt, tell us what Jessica said.
Okay, my question was, and I don't have the background either, but if we can ask for a max of 200 for each of 4 projects, then why are we asking for 675 and not 8?
No, it's three sidewalk projects plus a senior van, which is different. That's
Right.
So each
175.
3 projects is actually 400, our component is 200.
No, that I understand. But what is so the senior van, so should we ask for a 4th sidewalk rather than a senior van to get more?
No, you have,
No, we polled all the department heads to see, again, we only get the 4 priorities over 3 years. So the senior van was voted number 1. That's the way we applied for it at the
That
van.
was-
That was 150, so we pay 75 of that.
Right.
Okay. but
Plus
like,
200, 200,
Just
200.
throwing it out there. I completely agree we need a new van. I think that would be fantastic. But if we're looking to max out matching funds, should we look at another sidewalk which maxes out the
Well, that's a
matching
different, then
funds?
it'll be a different project.
this is
Right.
strategy.
We already did this already.
you've already held a public hearing
Right,
and
we've already
public
done
meeting.
this.
No, I understand that.
So
but
we
just-
could get an
just
extra
so-
van.
But just so Jessica understands though,
So now we're just voting on taking the money. Right?
there's specific things in the CDBG grant, like, that
Yeah.
they focus on. Like,
Yeah.
when we got this grant money for the Gould Park Playground, and we really wanted to add a bathroom to it, but then it was unlikely to get approved, even though there was room in the funding to have the bathroom in there. So there's some rhyme and reason to what Fiona
Okay.
recommends that we
Got
go
it.
in for to maximize us getting the grant in the first place.
Even the spray park years ago, same kind of thing. That was
Right.
the,
No, I knew that. I was just wondering if rather than asking for
No, I
75 for a van, should we ask for 200 for another sidewalk? And if the answer is we can't do that right now, that's
The
fine.
time has passed in order to
Understood.
identify that project under the procedure that you'd already.
But we
undertaken.
did have this out of time opportunity to increase our ask for some reason that is mysterious and we don't.
Sure.
Going?
So,
The way
For the record, just tell us who you are, Valerie, and what your role is.
2 people.
Valerie Menastra, village planner, Nelson Voorhees. So just to give you a little background, so in August, all the CDBG grants had to be submitted to the county, which included the 4 projects that Rob mentioned. At that point in time, you have to put in an estimated match as well as the project cost. So the county then, they have individual staff members that review all the projects, look to see if anything can be tweaked in terms of the grant applications. And I think that's why they came back and said to Rob, you can increase your, the match, which would allow them a little bit more flexibility in terms of what they can fund your individual projects. But you have to have a resolution passing, identifying that you as a board have agreed to those matches. And so that's really why that's here for you tonight.
So we're slightly increasing the match because we're also increasing the amount of funding that we're
That's correct.
eligible for matching funds for.
That's correct.
I withdraw her question.
thank you, Valerie.
What I do with yeah.
Okay, so let's see if we can move this along. Is there a motion to authorize matching funding up to the maximum of $200,000 per project for the CDBG grant projects if full funding is awarded? Trustee Galen, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor. That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Action item number 3 is a resolution to declare our intent to partner in the New York State Department of State Local Government Efficiency Grant Program. So this is something that we've been interested in for a number of years now. We had brought this to other local communities to see if we could partner with them in having a human resources department, because our village, like most villages, are too small to justify having a human resources department. And I'm glad it looks like it's finally perhaps gaining traction. So we're looking to partner with Elmsford, Tuckahoe, Rybrook, and Irvington to create a feasibility study to see if we could jointly share a human resources person. It seems like it would make sense, but the first step is to do this feasibility study. So,
Can I just?
sure.
I just want to also mention that the county hired Gina Piconich, who is the former mayor of Mount Kisco, in the HR department at the county specifically to help municipalities. And a lot of it is with regards to civil service and stuff, but there is now also a resource at the county and a person that's specifically designated to help with municipal hires.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. So,
Would that potentially take, do you see that, her role maybe, or that department sort of growing to encompass something like this?
I think that what would be good is that if something like this exists, then they could be the point person with Gina to look at all the villages as a whole, because, there's 45 municipalities in the county, and many of them, when they're looking to hire, it's one person here or two people here, and it's, so she has kind of a more global view of what's going on and stuff, so I think she's just a good person for this person to be in
So if we
contact
hire
with.
someone with the 4 other villages,
Right.
they just have some sort of
Exactly, then-
bigger,
then-
more resources.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just for the study.
This is a grant for the study.
Yeah.
Feasibility.
Yeah.
okay,
Are there
so,
funds attached to this right now? Or we're just saying, we're authorizing it?
A grant.
yeah,
It's a grant application.
It's approving the application, we don't know yet.
Oh, an application for it, got it, thank you.
okay, so is there a motion to declare our intent to partner with these local communities and hopefully getting a proposed feasibility study to review the feasibility of having the shared human resources responsibility? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 4, which is again, sort of along the same lines, where we partnered with Hastings and I believe Irvington in applying for a grant, forestry grant. This is a federal grant, if I remember correctly. And we were awarded this grant. Our share of the grant is $34,860, which requires a matching contribution not to exceed $42,220. I think the other communities got more money than we did, so I think we are going to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Hastings and with Irvington. Hastings is going to take the lead on this to determine, I think it's a specialist is going to come in and see how we could save our forests and what has to be done to do that. Is that correct?
Is it Smokey the Bear?
It's actually.
Why does it say interim village administrator?
Yeah.
No, it said that's what we originally entered into.
Yeah, originally,
Yeah.
the grant was reworked. It was a matching, this is not a matching for the 34,860.
No, but it says a resolution authorizing the interim village administrator to collaborate. Shouldn't it just say
No,
the
I think
village
it-
administrator?
No, I thought what it said was it had previously done in 2023 with the interim village administrator.
Okay, so, because in 2023, we had an interim village administrator.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says, whereas on May 23rd, 2023, the village board approved a resolution authorizing.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion to move this forward and to authorize the village administrator to enter into an IMA with Hastings and Irvington? Trustee Galen, second. Trustee Sullivan, all in favor? That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Action item number 5.
I'm just curious, do we know why we got so much less than the other
Yeah,
municipalities?
we have
less
less
forest.
land.
Oh, they have that much more forest than we do?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're actually, there's another one coming up in March, which I'll bring to your attention pretty soon. That's another free grant, just to plant trees throughout any, like a reforestation. So that's a huge chunk of trees, hundreds and hundreds, just for,
Okay.
so we're gonna have to identify where we're gonna put them all.
Yeah, I think, so like the CAB is gonna have
Yeah.
some suggestions for those kinds of things.
Was there any update from Irvington on, is it Irvington or Hastings on the deer calling?
No,
I
could.
think they successfully culled 26 count.
Oh, yeah?
I have relatives who live in Irvington, and I noticed the deer that used to visit their backyard are no longer visiting. But that was the count so far, and now,
They're in the parking lot in the back.
they're hiding. But that was the count as of
26
last year.
with one person, okay.
Over the period of like a month, I think.
Right, so far.
We can ask for the report, because
Yeah.
we're supposed to be preparing a report at the end of the.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I think we need to make a plan for next year, and we should do it sooner than later.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, and they offered to have this same person come down and answer our questions if, as we ask questions.
Okay, Valerie, can you come up to the microphone?
Uh-oh. In trouble now, Val.
That's right.
So we're at this
Valerie
point
Monfort.
where we have two resolutions concerning the comprehensive plan. Can you very quickly just go over it and what your role would be? And I think I'd like to add maybe one or two other members to this, and if you could just talk about that as well.
Sure. So just a real quick recap. The village has a vision plan committee that has been meeting just to kind of look at the current vision plan to see what needs to be updated. And at this point in time, it was agreed by the village vision plan committee that they recommend that the village undertake a comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan basically is a framework which identifies goals and recommendations for the village in the future, and it focuses on mostly like land use and future uses. It also looks at community facilities, it looks at infrastructure, and it's basically like a framework and goals from which all land use decisions and actions by the village board would be consistent with. So it's more of a broader general type of document as opposed to very specific, but what it does is it creates that framework for future policy decisions and future land use decisions.
So this committee,
So, yeah, so at this point in time, we're recommending that if you're going to commence this project, that ultimately, that the vision plan committee would turn into the comprehensive plan committee, and that would help oversee or steer the guiding of the comprehensive plan process, but ultimately, the comprehensive plan is a village board document, and it would be ultimately adopted by this village board. Which the village board already has a few liaisons associated with the vision plan committee, and we're recommending that they continue working with which would be now reconstituted as the comprehensive plan committee.
I mean, your estimate, how long would this take?
So I provided a general schedule as part of, as an addendum to the proposal, and it's approximately about a year or so. Between a year to 18 months, it would be complete.
During the course of that, or after that, we would have public hearings,
So there would be public workshops. We're proposing to have 3 public workshops throughout the process, 2 which really focus on the comprehensive plan and topics, and then 1 would focus on any zoning recommendations or village code recommendations that are basically implement the recommendations of the comprehensive plan.
And then the board, before it adopts, would conduct a public hearing.
That's correct. And there's also seeker associated with it, which would also have its requisite public hearings.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, what is there's an optional GEIS
Yes.
component?
Yes.
And could you explain what the benefit or like rationale of doing that or not doing that?
Right, I think it would be more thresholds.
A trigger the need.
Yeah, so if for some reason the comprehensive plan would recommend major overhauls to your zoning, and that zoning would trigger, let's say, for example, like an overall growth within the village, or major use changes or density changes within a particular zoning district, it might require additional real in-depth review, and that's where a GEIS, a generic environmental impact statement. But based upon what I see so far and what I know of the village, I don't anticipate it rising to that level, mostly because I think a lot of the zoning adjustments will come in forms of like more tweaks or corrections or increasing to new standards as opposed to a wholesale. You did a wholesale change of your zoning back when you did the vision plan in 2010, and that really changed the densities in a lot of those districts. I think at this point, I think there's going to be less of that and more of nuanced changes, which can be dealt with as an expanded Part 3 for the State Environmental Quality Review Act, which means you would still do a little bit in-depth analysis on some of those changes, but you wouldn't necessarily have to do a whole environmental impact statement.
And those kind of smaller changes that we've been talking about
Yeah.
at the committee that may alter some, may increase some density.
Right.
That's a very small
Yes.
piece of what would be considered a larger.
That's correct. That's
sort of
correct.
density change.
That's
So-
correct.
And ultimately, the county will decide that? Who
No,
decides this?
no,
You do.
you do.
We decide if
Yes.
it's changed enough.
That's correct.
If
Oh,
you,
that's
if,
interesting.
if you go through the review process, and the review process is mandatory environmental assessment form, and we look at the expanded Part 3 for the particular action that you want to undertake, and if it rises to the level of a potentially significant impact, then you're required by the law to proceed to the, but, we'll know that as we get a little farther down in terms of the public outreach and the needs of the community as they provide the input to this. So we'll be giving you regular updates and thoughts and concerns and expressed needs as the process moves forward. And again, you would need to expand the Part 3 for those areas that you're going to tweak with some measure of significance. And then you'll determine based upon that expanded Part 3 whether it rises to identifying a potentially significant impact.
And if with public feedback and more, commentary from groups, if it does rise above, how much extra time does this add to the process?
Significant.
Well, it depends, because it's a generic environmental impact statement, so it could end, a few more months, it could be like 4 months or something like that.
4 to 6 months, yeah.
Right, but I think I put it in there because I want the board just to realize that is a potential possibility, but based on, I know working on other communities, there's times that right away that it's going to be, major changes that the community is seeking. I think this is a slightly different process because of what we're seeing so far.
Because we weren't involved in the overhaul, the extensive overhaul you did the last time, we don't really know what level of process or procedure you used. And also, that was in connection with a vision plan, which does not qualify as a comprehensive plan really under the law. So we're not sure what level of procedure. So we want to make sure that you have a record and that you base it on the facts at hand this time around.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so thank you, Valerie. So is there a motion to establish a committee to assist the Village Board of Trustees in development of a proposed comprehensive plan? Trustee Patino, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously.
And, Mr. Mayor, just want to point out that the resolution you just passed does reserve the right to appoint additional members in the best interest of the village. So you always have that opportunity. The village board can add additional members. That just has to be done by resolution.
Has to be done by resolution?
Just a simple resolution.
Okay. I want to thank everyone who's stepped up to volunteer for that role, and we look forward to your input and your contributions. Action item number 6 is to authorize Nelson Pope to perform their professional services to help us with this plan, and I think the amount is $76,500. So is there a motion to authorize the engagement of Nelson Pope for professional planning services in connection with development of the village's comprehensive plan in the amount of $76,500? Trustee Sullivan, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor? That passes unanimously. I should have asked this beforehand. Jeff, it's in the budget already or not in the budget already?
Yeah, it's in the budget.
I should have asked that before we actually went
He
to
made
vote.
you sweat a little bit.
I know.
So, like,
I know. It's like, where am I gonna find $76,000 from?
You'd be surprised.
Action item number 7 is to consider a resolution extending the Parklet program through 2025. Rob, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or Laura Lee can correct me if I'm wrong. Originally, I didn't say originally, but the Parklet program that we recently authorized expired in December of 2024, is that correct?
December 31st, and the new season for your consideration would begin commensurate with the on-street cafe permit.
And I think,
around April 1st, so this really will cover that blackout period over the winter, and then continue through the end of next year. We need to get the,
Extended to April.
yeah.
okay, so I think, and we did a survey, we reached out to all of the restaurants, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think one restaurant was interested in doing it?
Yes.
This is for this winter period.
Right. So that would be the cookery that's interested in doing it. So, I know I've gotten some emails recently about their using it primarily, it looks like a shed. I know the building department has reached out to them. We're going to see if we can do something with providing heat or
Yeah,
some
to
kind of.
promote the
make it-
use through the winter months where they had asked for that, so.
Well, wait a second, so the Parklet program is not there to be storage, so.
No, absolutely not.
No, that's
Right,
why,
that was the complaint that we were getting, so we were working out
yeah,
to see if we
But
can.
the cookery does have heat, don't they, in there?
no.
No,
They don't?
Building department a few years ago didn't allow it. They made them remove it, and they store the tables and chairs that they use in the parklet in there.
So they're looking to make it a more user-friendly facility over the winter months, and they're currently working with the building department to see what they can do to help them effectuate that usage, not,
The building department's revisiting the idea of,
So this is just during the winter we're talking about, so not
correct.
when the cafe permits start?
this is for the winter period
the winter
where,
months, Okay.
yeah.
And this incorporates what we talked about in a workshop some time ago about the visual,
That's all in addition to this extension. Then we're going to be updating the program documents, the license agreements, and we'll make it clear in there that there's an opportunity for them to come in with more creative
Aesthetic.
and original.
opportunity or
Now-
requirement?
No, it's not a requirement.
Opportunity, they don't have, they can still use it.
They can come in if they want to provide this, and it would need to go to the building and to Department of Public Works to be sure that it meets the standard of safety, which is really our concern, because it's in the public right of way.
okay, so is there a motion to approve the extension of the Parklet program through 2025 as outlined in the proposed resolution? Trustee Sullivan, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously, thank you. Action item number 8, this concerns the work that was performed on behalf of the village to meet the requirements of the New York Forward Grant application. So we were presented an opportunity to apply for this New York Forward Grant, and trustees Galen and trustee Nell, well, I don't think she was a trustee at the time, but trustee-elect Nell, and trustee Galen worked extremely hard, along with the village staff, in getting this application done. And we needed a video, and Ed Nemore and Terrence Taylor really stepped up, took time out of their work and out of their weekend to do a video. They came here, we shot some scenes, and they really did a lot of editing and put it together. And they didn't ask for anything, but as a way of compensating them for the time and energy that they put into this, we'd like to, I'd like the board to approve a one-time stipend of $200 to each of them for the work that they performed. Is there a motion? Trustee Galen, second trustee Rosenberg, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 9 is, we've got some backup on this, but evidently Daniel Gardner is entitled to a retroactive increase in his salary. So this resolution retroactively raises his salary to June 1st, 2024, at the salary of $102,757. Is there a motion to approve the salary increase of Daniel Gardner, Parks Maintenance Foreman? Trustee Patino, second. Trustee Rosen Asher. All in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 10 is also a salary increase. This is a step increase concerning the village clerk, Darlene Manning. She's entitled to a step increase, which would bring her salary to $71,340.21. Is there a motion to authorize that? Trustee Sullivan, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 11 is to approve the audit of claims as submitted and recommended by the village treasurer. Is there a motion to approve the audit of claims? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Okay. Trustee liaison reports. Do you have anything for us, Trustee Galen?
No.
Trustee Rosenberg?
Not yet in this year.
Okay, it's true. Trustee Sullivan?
Nope.
Wow. Trustee Patino?
Just an update from the planning board meeting from last Thursday, I think it was, 9th. The Knoll application just continues to work its way through. They've undertaken the secret process. There are a number of questions for that developer, and I think there's a lot for them to work through. I think as we see the community continues to, have a lot of questions, and I think at some point it's going to go forward to a public hearing. So, we'll see what happens with that. Still some time, but, there is a very open and transparent process. I think everyone gets to see what's happening, how it works. So it just continues to move on. At the CAB, I think there's a meeting tomorrow night, so I have nothing from them.
Trustee Rosen Asher?
The Human Rights and Diversity Committee will have their first meeting of the year tomorrow, and I just want to welcome anyone who wants to apply to be on that committee. Now that we have an opening that got left, it's very worthwhile, and it's a real great opportunity to have an impact in the village.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I also just wanted to say the Historical Society had their eggnog party on Sunday, and it was really fabulous, and I wanted to thank them for all of the work that they do and for putting on that great event.
Thanks for attending. I meant to attend that couldn't attend it, something else, so
It's great.
It's a nice event.
it is. Does the village have anything that we want to add?
Liz?
Liz?
So I just want to let you know on January 7th, I received a letter dated January 7th from the County Board of Elections to inform me of upcoming elections for this year. So on February 11th, we have a special election that will be held within the village. On June 24th, we have the primary election, and then on November 4th, we have the general election. Just to briefly explain the purpose of the special election, as you know, our former county executive, George Latimer, won a congressional seat in the November election, which prompted for him to have to resign from his position as county exec. In the interim, initially, they appointed Richard Wishney from the county to head the department, and then the county board of legislators had a meeting on January 6th where they voted to appoint Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins as the county executive. As a result of this resignation, we then have to well, as part of the mandatory procedure, they have to call for a special election, which the Board of Elections set for February 11th. That, the purpose of that is so to fulfill the unfulfilled term, basically, of George Latimer. And then, just so everybody understands, in November, that would be basically the end of George's term. There will be on that general election, a vote for the 4-year term for the county executive. So just so people don't get confused, like, why are we voting now? And then it's on again in November. So just wanted to explain that. It is posted on our website. I put a link in case people don't know what district they're in or where to vote, and also the phone number for the BOE if anybody has questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz, for providing that information. A lot of it is last minute, so thank you for that. Anything else from the village? Okay. So is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Trustee Patino, second. Trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor? Passes unanimously. Meeting is hereby adjourned.